Fortnite Chapter 5 Season 4 is here, and with it comes a whole new set of challenges, locations, and most importantly, bosses with mythic items. If you want to dominate this season, you're in the right place. Today I'm breaking down the 10 best tips and tricks to help you secure those coveted boss items and rise to the top of the leaderboard. This is KT Gaming, your go-to channel for everything gaming and tech, and without further ado, let's shoot right into it. The new Fortnite season introduces several Marvel-themed POIs like Castle Doom, Doomstat, and the Raft. Each one of these locations offer unique challenges and rewards, particularly in the form of mythic items, guarded by bosses, which are Dr. Doom and Mysterio. To get ahead, familiarize yourself with these areas early. Learn the best landing spots, loot routes, and escape paths. Understanding the layout of these POIs will give you a tactical advantage, especially when the circle shrinks and forces players into these high traffic zones. Next up with tip number 2. Instead of rushing into a boss fight head on, consider a more strategic approach. You could either let other players do the dirty work or rush in there early to get the kill early and fast. Bosses in this season are tough and can whittle down an opponent's health and resources. By waiting for other players to engage the boss, you can swoop in at the last moment to finish off both the weakened boss and the surviving player. This tactic requires patience and awareness, but it could be highly effective ways to secure powerful mythic items with minimal risk. Or you could just rush in first because guys, when you land right away, a lot of people are still looting around and getting themselves prepared to go engage the boss. But what if you grab like just 1 to 3 weapons, anything you see off the floor, and just start attacking the boss, which is another way to do it because you could kill the boss and steal the mythics and run away before the players even know what happened, you know what I mean? So it all depends your type of playstyle in the end. Now guys, the next tip I could give you is all about movement. War Machine's hovered jets allow for quick bursts of flight, which can be disorienting if you're not used to aerial combat. Practice using these in both offensive and defensive scenarios. You could either use the jets to your advantage, or if you're not used to it, players could actually use it against you and just beam you out the air, and that's happened to me plenty of times guys, trust me, especially in my first couple of games of the new season. But also you have to understand cooldowns and timing, because you have to rely on like your whole arsenal, not just the movement abilities. You know, like let's say you have War Machine's jetpack for example, and it runs out of juice and you're trying to run away. You have to try and see if you could find other ways. Don't just rely on the jetpack, of course, because then you'd probably be screwed in the end. Of course, avoid over-reliance on movement abilities. Like for example, you still need to build and shoot and like make sure you're well protected, because if you're just moving around, you know, you're not gonna win games like that. You have to use everything to your advantage. And also, the last tip I could give you guys, well, like kind of like mini tip for tip 3, is to make sure that you remember that other people have access to this as well. So you have to try to predict how they're gonna use these abilities and different ways to counter them, so that you could just win the battle in the end, right? And eventually win the game, because if you don't know how to counter these new abilities and movement styles, then it's gonna be rough for you guys, I'm not gonna lie. That's why practice is important. Now, after securing a mythic item with tip 4, it is crucial to rotate early to a safer location. Mythic items make you a prime target for other players, so don't linger around the boss area. Use the item's unique abilities to your advantage, whether it's War Machine's hover jets for quick mobility, which isn't a mythic, but if you have it and you really like cherish that item that you have to make sure that you preserve it, you know, just use it the best to your ability. Or if it's Dr. Doom's arcane gauntlets for powerful attacks. You have to move to a more favorable position on the map. Early rotation also helps you avoid getting caught in the storm, allowing you to maintain your health and resources for the late game. As well as Captain America's shield, you know, if you really cherish these items and you have a good loadout, make sure to like keep it. Like, I'm not like, that's obvious, I know, but like make sure to just like run away as fast as you can, because if you're low, right, and you just killed Dr. Doom for example, get out of there before it's too late, because there'd be times where I'm like, yes, I killed Dr. Doom finally, there's no one around, I'm healing there, sitting there drinking minis and a big pie and a med kit, and all I see is just a dude out of nowhere rushing me, and I just get absolutely destroyed because I'm not prepared. So the best I can give you is to run away, especially if you're low. That's the most important part. The next tip is to manage your resources wisely. Resource management is a critical skill in Fortnite, especially with the introduction of new items and mechanics this season. Always ensure that you have enough materials for building, ammo for your weapons, and healing items for sustenance. When fighting bosses, try to conserve your resources by using the environment to your advantage, such as trapping bosses in tight spaces or using natural cover to avoid their attacks. This way, you have plenty of resources left for any player engagements that follow. Now trust me on this one guys, because there was literally times where I've had like low ammo on my shotgun and SMG, and like I'd run out of ammo by the time I kill the boss, and then another player comes out of nowhere. So just make sure to engage as least amount as possible, or try to conserve your resources as much as possible. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say, because if anyone comes to ruin the day for you and just try to steal the mythics from you because you did the hard work for them, it's gonna be a bad day if you don't have ammo. Tip 6. Know when to engage and disengage. Not every fight is worth taking, especially when you're hunting for mythic items. Assess your situation carefully. Do you have the right resources, health, and positioning to win the fight? If not, then it might be better to disengage and reposition, or just disengage in general. This is kind of like what I was saying before, but more detailed. But this season's bosses have powerful abilities that can quickly turn the tide of a fight. So if you're not fully prepared, consider retreating to fight another day. Disengaging isn't a sign of weakness, it's a tactical decision that can help you survive longer and secure the win. But you can also just look for heals and heal up and then fight when you're ready at the end. Just make sure that they don't kill the boss or whatever. Like if it's not even a boss, if it's just a regular player, then probably just disengage if you don't have the resources, because the resources like mats, heals, that could really determine whose way the fight goes. Next up with tip 7, use ambush tactics near boss locations. Boss locations are hotspots for player activity, making them prime areas for setting up ambushes. If you're not interested in fighting the boss yourself, consider waiting or hiding near the entrance to these locations. Wait for unexpected players to finish their fight with the boss, then strike when they're at their most vulnerable. And now this tactic requires stealth and timing, but can yield high rewards if executed correctly. Remember, Fortnite is much about outthinking your opponents as it is about outgunning them. Next up with tip 8, this season introduces new weapons and gadgets, including War Machine's arsenal and the Monarch pistol. Take the time to familiarize yourself with these new additions to the game. Each has unique strengths and can be highly effective when used correctly. For example, War Machine's auto turn can provide cover fire while you reposition, and the Monarch pistol offers a balance of power and accuracy. Don't be afraid to experiment with different loadouts to find what works best for your playstyle. In the heat of battle, with tip 9, it is easy to forget about your health and shields, but these are your lifeline in Fortnite. Always carry a good supply of healing items and shield potions and use them wisely. After taking down a boss or in the middle of a firefight, prioritize getting your shields up as soon as possible. If you have time, pop a small shield potion first, then use a larger one. Remember, staying at full health and shields can be the difference between winning and losing in the final moments of the game. Building is one of the most critical skills in Fortnite. Practice building under pressure to improve your speed and accuracy. In boss fights, quick building can provide immediate cover or elevation, giving you the upper hand. In the end game, being able to rapidly build and edit structures can help you control the fight and secure the victory royale. This season, with the addition of destructible environments, it is also important to build with an escape plan in mind, ensuring that you're never trapped or out of options. Which was tip 10. And that's it for today's tips and tricks. This season is packed with opportunities to dominate if you play smart and know how to use those boss items to their fullest potential. Now guys, if you found this guide helpful, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more updates on all things gaming and tech. And let me know down below in the comment section if you want to see more tips and tricks videos just like this one. Now players, if you had anything to add to this list, what would you add? I'm telling you guys, all these tips are essential to keep in mind in this new season. I know some of them may be more obvious than others, but all could help you win the fight nonetheless in the end. So players, until next time, happy gaming and make sure to rack up those victory royales this season. Peace out.